Hi, I'm Denise, English teacher and language coach at Positive Language Learners. In this video, we're looking at how to pluralize nouns in English which end with the letter O. Examples of nouns which end with the letter O are radio, studio, tomato, potato, and Filipino. So we're talking about one radio, one studio, one tomato, one potato, and one Filipino. We're talking about singular nouns. But how about if we wanted or needed to speak or write about more than one potato, tomato, studio, radio, or Filipino? In other words, how would we make these nouns plural? Let's start with radio and studio. So radio is spelled R-A-D-I-O and studio is spelled S-T-U-D-I-O. When we make radio plural, it becomes radios. And when we make studio plural, it becomes studios. And radios is spelled R-A-D-I-O-S. Studios is spelled S-T-U-D-I-O-S. So when we made those two nouns plural, we added an S to the end of them. Now let's have a look at tomato and potato. Tomato is spelled T-O-M-A-T-O. And potato is spelled P-O-T-A-T-O. When we make tomato plural, we say tomatoes. And when we make potato plural, we say potatoes. And how do we spell tomatoes and potatoes? Tomatoes is spelled T-O-M-A-T-O-E-S. And potatoes is spelled P-O-T-A-T-O-E-S. So to make those nouns plural, we added ES to the end of them. Now let's have a look at Filipino. Filipino is spelled F-I-L-I-P-I-N-O. To make Filipino plural, we say Filipinos. And we add an S to the end of the word Filipino. So we get F-I-L-I-P-I-N-O-S. So we can see that when nouns end with O in English, when we make them plural, we can either add an S to the end of the word or we can add ES. So how do we know when to add S and when to add ES? There are two general rules that you can use as guidance, but I am going to warn you that these general rules do have several exceptions, so you will need to practice this and study this a lot in order to get really confident with it. But let me tell you the two general rules first. The two general rules are that, firstly, if a noun ends with O, but the letter which comes before that final O in the noun is a vowel, when we make that noun plural, we add an S to it. So let's have a look at radio and studio again. You can see that the letter that comes before the final O in radio and studio is I, and I is a vowel. So when we made radio and studio plural, we added an S to those nouns. Now let's have a look at the second general rule. The second general rule is that if a noun ends with O, but the letter that comes before that final O is a consonant, then we do not add S normally. We normally add ES to make that noun plural. If we have a look at potato and tomato, we will see that just before the final O in both potato and tomato, the letter T appears. And the letter T is a consonant. And that is why we added ES when we made those nouns plural. But let's have a look at Filipino. The word Filipino ends with O. And the letter before that final O is N, and N is a consonant. So why then don't we add ES to Filipino to make it plural? Why do we add S? And as I said, there are several exceptions to the two general rules. And the exception which relates to this particular noun, Filipino, is the exception that when we are pluralizing proper nouns, we normally do not add ES to them to make them plural. We add S, and Filipino is a proper noun. So there are several exceptions to these two general rules, but if you practice, you can get really good at spelling plural nouns which end with O in English. To help you with that, I have created some quizzes. If you want to access them, Follow the links in the description below. And until next time, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Bye-bye.